Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, there was a lot of talk about Microsoft today, and not in a good way. And it all stemmed here from this article. I'll drop a link to it in the description below. It says, Xbox's new policy, say goodbye to unofficial accessories from November. So some gamers on Xbox are receiving this message here. A connected accessory is not authorized. Using unauthorized accessories compromises your gaming experience. For this reason, the unauthorized accessory will be blocked from use on November 12th, 2023. Now this is going to affect a whole bunch of people, including almost the entirety of the Xbox fighting game community. Basically anyone here who uses a Brook product, including the Brook UFB, the Wingman converter, and even more. And Brook says here they're going to try to figure something out, but at this point in time they do apologize for Microsoft's actions. Without going on too much of a rant here, in my opinion, this goes against Xbox's own statement right on their website. I mean, listen to this. Welcome to Xbox. At Xbox, we believe that gaming is for everyone. Really now? We strive to make this more fun for billions of people around the world by creating gaming experiences that everyone can enjoy. Because when everyone plays, we all win. I guess unless you're using an unauthorized third-party accessory. Now in fairness, some people are saying that this is to prevent cheating devices, and I would argue possibly. But I would also argue the bigger reason here is for Microsoft to make more money by having companies pay to authorize their devices. For example, here is the 8-bit arcade stick. It works with Switch, Windows, the Raspberry Pi, Android, and more. It retails for $90. Here is the exact same version of the stick, officially licensed for the Xbox. It's $120, a little bit more expensive, and I guess the color's different. Here is the 8-bit Pro 2 wired controller, $35. And here's the exact same controller licensed for Xbox, $45 or $44.59 if you want to be specific. You can see that there is an Xbox tax here. It may not be across the board, but I would argue it applies to a lot of products. And on top of that, there's also the argument of accessibility. Some people are saying that Microsoft has the Xbox Adaptive Controller and it should work for everyone. And I would argue that everybody's needs could be different. Plus, this could also be cost prohibitive. I mean, it's $100 just for the base unit, and then you have to buy everything that plugs into it. And there's no guarantee here that every single accessory is going to satisfy everybody. Moving on, and we're still talking about things that may not be to everybody's liking, and this time about Capcom and modding. I'll drop a link to this tweet in the description below. It says, in a recent Capcom research and development presentation, Capcom has clarified its stances on mods in PC gaming. Capcom considers mods equal to cheating and is worried that mods that violate public order or morals will cause them PR damage. And then they say, don't be surprised if you see takedowns from them. Furthermore, I can't believe that they put this in their presentation. Well, actually, I guess I can. It says the state of cheats and piracy in PC games. Actually, if we just don't put any anti-cheat and anti-piracy measures in a PC game, what happens? Cracked on day one, free DLC and other paid content, sales damage, and actual profit loss. So they're justifying services like de novo. And on a fun side note here, and arguably not a great comparison, but whatever. If you take a look at Capcom's best-selling games as of June 2023, Monster Hunter World is sitting at 19 million units sold. Now take a look at a game that supports modding. How about Skyrim? Has over 60 million copies sold, a lot more. Or even Minecraft with 300 million copies, which heavily supports modding. So modding might be something that Capcom may want to look at. And speaking about mods, next up we're talking about a ROM hack here for Super Mario Bros. On the NES called Super Ale Brothers Redux. And this one was just released here. The hack features backwards scrolling, P-switches, on and off blocks, text boxes, and a whole bunch more. If you are curious about this one, I'll drop a link to the Romhack in the description below and feel free to check it out. And there's a very interesting YouTube video you may be interested in as well if you wanted to see the game played through. And continuing to talk about modding, this game is not of interest to me, but I guess it might be for some people. An English fan translation for Shangri-La 2, an NSFW 18 Plus game for the PC 98 has been released. I'll drop a link to the GBA temp link in the description below, and I guess feel free to check it out. There's also a YouTube video, which I'll drop a link to it in the description below as well. Next up, I've got some more bad news for some people, and I'll drop a link to this article in the description below because it's right from Ubisoft. Decommissioning of online services for older Ubisoft games as of January 2024. Decommissioning the online services for older games is something we do not take lightly. However, it is also a necessity as the technology behind these services becomes outdated. So here's a list of games that they're decommissioning online services for in January 2024. And they also let you know the changes to functionality. We've got a whole bunch of Assassin's Creed games here. We've got Heroes of Might and Magic 6. We've got Splinter Cell Conviction, Trials Evolution, and more. Next up, we're talking about Apple, and today Apple had their Apple event. And it's titled Scary Fast. They unveiled some very interesting stuff. So apparently this whole thing was shot on an iPhone Max, and they unveiled 3 brand new chips here, the M3, the M3 Pro, and the M3 Max. I'm not gonna lie here, some of the specs they're boasting about are pretty impressive. For example, on this M3 Max. For the CPU, it's 80% faster than the M1 Max, 50% faster up to than the M2 Max, and for the GPU side of things, up to 50% faster than the M1 Max and up to 20% faster than the M2 Max. Unfortunately, the most affordable M3 is just an 8-core CPU. Next up, we're quickly talking about 3DS emulation with Panda3DS. And today, Panda3DS has ever wanted to run a 3DS emulator kinda decently on a 10-year-old laptop running Windows 8.1. Me neither, but apparently someone did. And we can see Ocarina of Time 3D up and running, I guess, pretty decently. I'll drop a link to Panda3DS in the description below. Feel free to check it out. It's a free and open source 3DS emulator. And speaking about free and open source, next up here, we're talking about Derek Turtlerow's awesome emulators GitHub page. We talked about this one yesterday, and today it got yet another amazing update. Or should I say awesome update? I'll drop a link to it in the description below. Anyways, here there's now a legend. It lets you know if something is free and open source, if it's partially open source or at least disputed, or closed source and proprietary. And it also lets you know if it's still in active development and whether or not they recommend it. And continuing to talk about free and open source, next up we're talking about Mastodon, which is kind of like a free and open source version of Twitter. Anyways, here Mastodon for Android just got a brand new update, lists. So with this new update, you now have the ability to create and remove feature lists. And last up here, we're talking about the 3DS, and better late than never here, Shakedown Hawaii is getting a 3DS physical edition. So it goes on sale on Monday, November 6th, and it's priced very reasonably, $29.99 for the standard edition and $49.99 for the collector's edition. And they're only printing 3,000 copies of each. If you haven't tried Shakedown Hawaii before, I definitely recommend checking it out. It's a twin-stick, open-world, GTA-inspired shooter. It's a very good game, and I'm definitely going to try to get this collector's edition. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and one fluff. I'm still recovering from traveling. I'm feeling a little bit better than yesterday, but still extremely tired. Hopefully I'm feeling even better tomorrow. Let me know your thoughts about anything we talked about today in the comments below. If you liked this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.